I'm joined now by Alan Mahon from Brewgooder. And Alan, we spoke way back in February before the lockdown, and I wanted to check in with you now on how your year has been since then. Big question, I know, and any positives you're taking forward into the new year.
Yeah, thanks for having me along. Yeah, I mean, when people ask you how has your year been, you kind of think this has been about 10 years. At the same time, it's been about 2 months because time just starts being really still and really quick without you really being able to control it. So I think we had a very, like everyone, I'm sure, had a very different year planned at the start of it than they do now at the end of it on reflection. When we were last speaking, I think it was the end of February, and little did we know that within a month, the type of event that brings people together and allows people to share stories and make connections was basically, not possible at all. We were planning for a big campaign called the Global Gathering, which was going to bring together 250 brewers from 24 different countries to release their beers all at the same time, to do big fundraising exercises, to have a lot of fun, bring people together. And that was slated for the 20th of March. And if anyone can remember their calendars, that was the day that certainly the UK was told you cannot, leave your house basically, and pubs have to shut and stuff. So from a timing point of view, I think that was, we had worked for about 7 months to coordinate that whole thing, and it was basically up in flames, which was interesting. But I think that kind of allowed us to take a bit of a 360 view on what we were as a brand, and if we were to come out the other side of this, what would we want to look and feel like? And I think immediately we realized that clean water was obviously a dynamic that had been driving us and would continue to drive us from a very personal level from me as a founder. But we actually discovered quite quickly that our brand was really about making a people positive impact. So that could be close to home, that could be with different groups, that could be showing opportunities or inclusion or compassion for other people. And within a few days of lockdown being announced, we actually launched a campaign called One on Us. And that allowed drinkers across the UK to basically pay forward a 4-pack of beer to be delivered to NHS workers who had signed up to basically receive it. And they had the chance to write little messages of thanks or encouragement to frontline NHS staff. And that was really successful. 28,000 beers went across the UK. We had messages that, would make you tear up when you were seeing them come through, and hopefully had that same sort of impact on frontline workers. And that was just showing that beer could be a really powerful, I guess, gift or act of kindness for people to say, I might never ever meet you, but here's my appreciation of all the work we did. And then as we went into the year, we reacted, I think, quite positively to quite adverse things. So when the killing of George Floyd happened, we said, we need to actually look at ourselves and how we stand up as a brand for people who don't necessarily look like us. So whether that's people of color, whether that's increasingly females or LGBTQ people, do we want to reflect the society and in our team, but also do we want to try and make change in the wider beer industry in order to make. So we started up a project called Work in Progress, which now has 30 different brewers from around the UK who are striving to be much more inclusive. And we did some really, really cool things, like we started a scholarship at the Harriet Watt Brewing and Distilling undergraduate course that allows people of color to really actually take part in the course and get financial support in order to encourage them to do so. So hopefully that's something that will have a really long-term benefit. And then we also launched a Panto Box campaign to basically, I guess, give people a sense of normality, or that they could enjoy things that have been prevented from happening in 2020, like going to the Panto, and proceeds from that were being used to help the Theatre Actors Hardship Fund for people who obviously have been affected. So if you take that broad sweep of campaigns, it really taught us that we were about people fundamentally, and we've really ran with that. And within the next few months, anyone who follows Brewgooder will see big changes in how we talk about what we do, how we look, how we sound, how we feel, and basically our ambitions. And then we've also kind of used this time to really sort out a scalable business model that allows us to make impact absolutely in line with commercial growth. And we're probably going to be going out and doing a public investment round as well. So if you had asked me at the start of the year what we've been doing, I would never have envisaged these types of things. But I think it's allowed us to stare over the cliff into the existential dread, and then pull back and say, well, if this was our last ever year, what would we be proud of, making happen? And I think that's really been encouraging going forward. So a lot to talk about, a lot to take in, but definitely on balance, something that we've looked to take positives out of for sure.